Morning. Welcome to our media once again. I am Joram Mwesige, a libertarian working with a libertarian think tank in Uganda. That is Action for Liberty and Economic Development. Today I'm going to be hosting our one and only Madam Li Schoolland from USA. You are welcome to our media, Madam Li.
Thank you for having me.
Please introduce yourself to our viewers.
My name is Li Schoolland. I'm from United States, Hawaii. I'm very pleased to be invited to Uganda.
To attend the Liberty Camp?
Yes, the 9th Africa Liberty Camp.
Okay, thank you for honoring this invitation to have an interaction with you. You were born of China.
Yes, made in China.
You are a citizen of USA.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
I left China when I was 26 years old, and I've lived in the United States for 40 years. So I've been a citizen of the United States for, I think, 36 years.
You seem to be old, but in
yes,
years, but
I am.
you look pretty younger
Thank
than
you.
that.
Thank you.
China, with Leap Forward program, with Cultural Revolution
Yes.
by Chairman Mao, was a disaster, killing millions of people. Hunger, poverty was rampant everywhere. What is your comment on that?
I lived through all that. I was born during the Great Leap Forward, and then grew up during the Cultural Revolution. And when I left, China just started to open up and started reform.
Oh, China problem of Leap Forward was a mean to overtake of socialism, of capitalism West, and show the world that it is only communism that can champion. But at the end of the day, we saw problem of hunger, poverty. People were eating each other, eating barks of the tree, and everything in China was misery. And we see people like Chairman Mao did not at the first time understand that it was a problem of communism. Why do people don't understand that communism is the problem of the world? Communism and socialism.
People understood, not everybody, but a lot of people understood, but they thought Chairman Mao and the Communist Party had a good intention to help the majority of the people who were poor. And, but they have the good intention, but they have a very wrong way of doing it. So they eliminated all the private properties and killed off all the producers of the economy.
Yes.
And redistribute what they took away
the means of production.
By force. Then the result was nobody was producing. Everybody was just consuming. And then they implemented the planned economy, and which is a very bad idea because planned economy never worked. And only market economy works. So that's why the famine came after the Great Leap Forward. But the government blamed on the nature. Until today, it's called the 3 years of natural disaster. Actually, everybody knew it's a human disaster. They called natural disaster, and because the ecosystem in China was all destroyed. All the trees were cut down, birds were killed, and in addition to other things, was made during that period of time. So yeah, you were right. People were eating each other and eating tree barks. Everything that's edible doesn't kill you was eaten.
Yeah, we have some story about China. Maybe it is because of Chairman Mao that people started eating different food type. Is that the case?
No, China, it was a poor country for a long time in history. And because it always had a very big government. And dictatorship or bureaucracy. It's even was during the period we have different dynasties. They all huge government, and so most people are always poor. So China has a culture of eating everything that's edible or not killing you.
So when I come to China, you'll be ready to eat a frog.
Oh yes, frog is luxury.
It's like chicken here. Yeah. Very sweet.
Yeah, everything. Even now, people eat something they shouldn't have, but they do.
China in 40s and China today, we see a great difference.
In 40s, you said?
40s, 50s, and 60s, and China today. They are different life. The standard of living of 60s and standard of living today. What triggered China's prosperity to compared to the policies of Chairman Mao and his spin? I understand when Chairman Mao died, the current president, his spin and the leadership, they encouraged professors to go abroad, elsewhere, to copy what other country, how did they do it differently, that they left China in poverty when they are rich. They visited Singapore, Li Kuan Yew, they visited UK, they visited Japan to copy and paste. But as a citizen of China, you know these things better than us. What made China to be where it is today compared to the policy of Chairman Mao?
Okay. China, you are referring to, it started in 1949. So that's when the communists took over and established the People's Republic of China by Chairman Mao and Communist Party. So during the 1950s, what they did was nationalize everything in China. No private property.
To promote agriculture and the steel industry to overtake the capitalist nations.
Not just that, and they killed all the capitalists, and factories, stores, houses, land, anything that owned by private citizens was taken away. Even your homes, you no longer own your homes. And 1960s, the beginning of 1960s was the Great Famine for 3 years. Then Cultural Revolution began at 1966. It lasted for 10 years. Mao died in 1976. And after Mao died, and the new leadership, at that time, people are really at the bottom of the society, at the the poverty line, because people are dying of starvation daily. So in 1970, not immediately, there wasn't change right away, but then Nixon visited China, so that was the first time China opened up to foreigners.
Yes, and I hear Milton Friedman also visited China and advised the government.
That's later. That's later. And then in 1978, in November, there's a village in the center of China. 18 people got together. They said, we cannot continue to live under these circumstances because within a month, there are 60 people in their village died of starvation. So they said, we cannot sit here and wait to die. So let's do something different. So they decided to divide the land in their village equally.
Guangzhou?
No, it's called Xiaogang. And they divided the land among the 18 people, and they signed the contract among themselves with blood. It means we were determined to do this, but without government's approval. It's illegal, but that's the only way we can survive. Their goal is to not starve anymore. Their goal is not to become rich. Its goal is to not starve anymore. So they signed a contract saying if any one of them get killed by the government or put in prison, the other ones will help raise their children. So they signed that pact agreement, and they started to farm the land. They divided the way they see fit, because during the planned economy is the government tells you what to plant on land. It's not based on the natural climate or the soil or the whatever. And so most of the time the government tells people to plant one thing, but that thing is not suitable for that area. So these 18 people, they started to plant things on their own land that they know will grow, and they know how to do it.
And the yield was high, and everything was good.
So
after some time.
After a season, they harvest the food, and it's enough to feed their families. Yes. And also, they can, because government have a quota, demand the farmers to turn in their harvest. Most of the time, because of the planned economy, what they plant would not grow, so they never could satisfy government's demand on the quota. So this time, because they plant what they know and how and what will grow, so they had enough harvest. So immediately other villages from a surrounding saw this. They said, we want to do this too, because we're starving.
I read a book called Power of Capitalism by Rainer Zaltman. It says that government conducted demonstration areas to see to compare communism and capitalism. Is that the case? That government let some areas do business to demonstrate, and when government saw that capitalism was the best option, or private property was the best option, China slowly started letting capitalism thrive in some different areas. Is that the case?
Somewhat. Let me just finish the story.
Okay.
So the other villages want to do it, but the village chief, some said, yes, let's do it, because that's how we can feed ourselves. Some villages chief says, no, because this is against government policy. We don't want to do this. But more villages did it. The news spread out very fast, because for the first time, people are not starving and not dying. So it reached to Beijing. And Beijing, Deng Xiaoping, that time was the president, party chairman in China. So he sent a delegation to investigate. And when the 18 people knew the delegation's coming, they were really worried. They said, well, maybe that's it. We're going to be put in prison. But to their surprise, the delegation came and saw what happened, and then didn't condemn them.
They saw the miracle of capitalism.
Yeah. No, it's not capitalism. It's economic freedom.
That is it.
And then they went back to report it to Deng Xiaoping, and Deng Xiaoping famously said, it doesn't matter it's a white cat or black cat, as long as you can catch mice, you're a good cat. Immediately everybody interpreted it. We can have freedom to decide on our land. So it spread out very fast because everybody was desperate. So that's the beginning of reform. Actually, the government did not implemented any policy for reform. Only thing they did is to let go of the control and let people have a very limited economic freedom to what they can say about their land. So it's in 1 year, a lot of people were not hungry anymore. So that's a miracle itself. It's not directed by the government. It just spontaneously happened.
By people's efforts.
Right. And the city people saw that, said, we can do this too. The factory, they're always making things nobody wants because the government tells them to do. And so they have no profits. They don't care because the government pays all the workers. So the government had no more money to pay the workers in the factories. And the stores always had nothing because they're not producing what people want. It's not market economy. So the factory also need reform.
Yes.
And they started to, some factory people just say, okay, we will become the owner of this factory, all of us. Then we decide what will sell. For example, this table doesn't sell, we make the other kind. And then we promise to give government certain amount of the profit. Then we divide the rest among ourselves. That's a great incentive. And some factories started to do that, and the government let them. That's again, government let go of control and let people to have some limited freedom. So cities start to change too. And the factory workers had incentive to sell their product that has been in the warehouse for a long time. So they just go on street and selling. And it changed the income structure because before everybody was paid by the government. Now they're making making their own income. And then at the same time, China started to open a lot of foreign goods to come to China. Actually, most of them are smuggled illegally, came through Hong Kong by land. And a lot of people start to sell these things on the, we call black market that time. And especially people who really didn't have a good job or didn't have a job or was used to be prisoners or whatever, they have no way to get a job. So they started to do the black market activities for trade because they have nothing else to lose. So that immediately met the demand of the consumers. So market became very active. The government at that time did not know how to respond to all these happening. So we have a famous saying, say, you cross the river by touching the stone. There's no bridge. You don't know how to cross. You don't know where's deep or shallow. So every step you touch the stone, then you step on the stone, and little by little you cross the river. So that's what's happening in China because government was not prepared for any of these activities. They have no regulation. They have no rules or policies to stop people. So immediately everybody tastes the sweetness of capitalism and start to jump in. The police department will open the bar, and the army will open the hotel, and everybody was trying to get into business for a few years, and people start to get prosperous. And then China opened up a portion of Guangdong area you were talking about as a foreign trade zone, tax-free, to invite foreigners to come in and set up factories, because the foreigners will bring their machines, their management style, their materials. They only use Chinese labor and the Chinese land to set up factory. And the things produced in those foreign trade zones only goes out of China as an export. Actually, not export. It's just the company who invested will bring the product back to United States or Germany to sell. It didn't benefit Chinese consumer market, but benefit the labor market. A lot of people, especially not educated people, they all rushed to the southeast of China, become factory laborers to sew blue jeans, shoes, and that kind of things. And so those people are paid Western style salary and benefits. Even compared to United States, it's really, really cheap. But compared to China, for example, a factory worker at that time making shirts is getting paid 10 times more than my mother as a professor or my father as a doctor. So that makes China is a very kind of odd situation. But the good thing is government didn't know how to react. So free, very, very free environment.
Yes, because of our time, we shall be cutting the story short. What I see and hear from your story is China, like the rest of the world, countries go through the struggle between freedom and government who want to control them. I see you've been moving all over the world. Talk about freedom. What inspires you? What makes freedom and free market property right so special that you as an individual move across the world teaching them?
Good question. Because that what I was talking about is 1980s and early 1990s of China. Then the Chinese government finally get grips of the what's going on. They start to making policies or regulations to take control because they felt like they lost control. So they're taking control back. That's when China's growth kind of stopped going fast. And now the government is really want to return to the total control of economy and person. Of course, China never had a personal freedom or political freedom, but the economic freedom, the government trying to get back. So Chinese economy is going downhill. When I see that, I realize how powerful is market, economic freedom, and that benefit people and bring prosperity to a country.
Yes.
But the government would not want people to enjoy that. China knew what happened, and they don't care about the people, they care about their control. So they rather make the people back to poor than lose their control. So they're taking back controls. So this is a very sad. And so my mission is two things. One is promote the idea of a free market, because I saw and experienced how powerful the free market is. Then at the same time, I'm telling people the evil of communism or totalitarianism, because they don't care about people's life. They only care about their control. China is the example. And we asked government, you have this special economic zone, it's so prosperous. Why you limit it to there? Why don't you like the whole China? They said, no, we don't. Because if the whole China become free, we lose control. That tells how evil they are. So we have, especially right now, some Asian countries, a lot of African countries, they want to copy China model. They don't know what the real China model is. I was in Afghanistan. I talked to the chief economist, economic advisor to the president. I asked him, what's your economic goal, your economic plan? They said, oh, we don't want West style, we want Chinese style. I said, why do you want Chinese style? They said because in Chinese style, the government have more control. They knew it. They don't care about eliminate poverty for their citizens. They don't care about prosperity for their country. They only care about control. So I have to go to different countries to tell people, no, do not follow the Chinese style, because that's not going to benefit the people, only benefit the government. Now, only 40 years, we already see Chinese style is not sustainable.
So, citizens in China, the foreigners and the citizens own factories and cottage factories, but again we see government coming in to try to seize them and take control for political ambitions and power. That is the case?
Yes, not the same as 1950s.
Yes.
For example, Alibaba.
The other one was total seizure.
Alibaba, government forced them to give government shares. And now Jack Ma just let go. He's no longer part of Alibaba because the government took control. Or like Huawei, government make the Huawei do the things for government like spying and stealing. And in order to survive, Huawei has to say yes to the government. And every institution or factory or company, regardless is private or government owned, they have to have a government representative as a party chairman, get paid. Like, for example, if this is a company.
Yes, we shall have one from government.
Government will send the one look after controlling you, but you have to provide the salary for that person and a nice desk and a chair. You just sit there and doing nothing and watch you and make sure you don't do anything that government doesn't like or competing with the government. So every single, even a little restaurant or hotel, everywhere. So that's the current situation of China. And China right now has a huge problem with the housing, overbuild, right? They overbuild, and but they cannot let the housing price to go down. Normal market economy, if you have oversupplied, the price will go down. But if the price of housing go down, the Chinese people are going to be very angry because they pay so much. That's the only thing they have. So government is artificially keep the housing price at the level, but they cannot hold on to it anymore. So they start letting go regulation. Another wrong of letting go regulation. Before, if you live in Kampala, you cannot buy a house in Jinja. If you go to Jinja to live as a residents of Kampala, then your children cannot go to school. You cannot go to the hospital. They control like that. Now they let go of that control. So they told some cities that if you're not from this area, we allow you to buy houses. So that's how they're trying to solve the problem right now.
Yes, viewers, we are talking about the system our politicians employ, the socialist system, the communist system, and the free market system, that is capitalist system. And Li is talking about the system China employed, that is communism. And this system has been tried everywhere, and the result has been a boomerang. It has been disaster. China, as I told you, it collapsed. And everyone was dying. Poverty was everywhere. There was no production because the government intervened and took control of production and means of production. In Eastern Germany, after World War II, East Germany was captured by Soviet Union. There was poverty, there was death. Everyone was trying to run to West Germany, which was under capitalism. And because of that, they built the Berlin Wall to avoid people from escaping. And that is the case for China today. thank you very much. I'm going to be asking you to give advice to a country like Uganda, to African countries that are actually piling policies to control businesses, to control means of production, and also advise what makes the world prosperous. Yes, we have 1 minute to complete.
Okay. Yes, there's a lot of things the government can do. Number one, let go of control of borders. Let people come in and go freely, and stop requiring visas.
We are asking for visa-free
Right.
Africa.
Yeah, and also trade, open trade. Even other countries do not open trade to Uganda. Uganda should open trade to other countries regardless. That will really bring prosperities. Yes. And people has incentive to make things, and only trade will bring prosperities and encourage entrepreneurship.
Yes.
If people can make things that they can sell to other countries, even the other countries don't open their trade with Uganda, but the tourists come in without requiring visa or anything, they will buy and bring them home. Even small amount is still is a great incentive. And later on, other countries see the prosperity and growth of Uganda, they will copy. And they will demand their government to open the borders.
Okay, what is life like in USA in just 20 seconds?
Life?
How is life like in USA?
Oh,
in just 20 seconds.
We have, I feel like I have a lot of freedom. And even though it's moving to the wrong direction, but during the pandemic, at least in the United States, we can say no to mask, we can say no to lockdown. And other countries, people didn't have that freedom. Yeah. So I'm very grateful.
In Uganda, it was a disaster, and he would land in prison, and many people were in prison because of failing to listen to the orders of the president.
Yeah.
Today I hosted a great champion of freedom, Madam Li Schoolland from USA. She's our friend. She came to Uganda to speak at the 9th Africa Liberty Camp. We are very glad that we hosted you. We hope next time when we invite you, you'll be honoring our invitation and come back. Thank you very much for honoring us, our invitation, and coming back to Africa. See you next time.